Well, and we expect nothing less from this as we bring in Roch Kubatko to discuss a little Adley here. You always want to talk to him about the special things he has been doing. He is a special talent, and his first answer is always about the team. And that's the way it's always going to be, but we love him even more for that.
Exactly. I was told we couldn't go sleeveless. That was a lie, apparently. And it's true.
It's too much.
I mean, the whole time he kept trying to steer the conversation back like he did there. Team win, and we're like, okay, getting back to you being 5 for 5 with a home run and a walk. Well, the important thing is that we won. And I'm like, you know, if you're trying to dodge a spotlight, I respect that, but you didn't stop going 5 for 5 with a home run and a walk. It was really a special day, and he was totally uncomfortable with the attention, but that's what's going to come to him. It reminded me so much, though, 1999, Cal Ripken Jr. in Atlanta when he went 6 for 6, 2 home runs, 5 runs scored. Every time he would do something, it was becoming more historic. The poor PR director in the second row, John Maroon, would have to get up, walk all the way to the far corner of the front row to tell their PR guy this is now a record for whatever. Get back to his seat, next at bat, something else, he'd get back up and walk. And the beat crew felt that way about Adley. Every time he did something else, we're like, no, wait a minute. This is a club record. This is a record for rookie catchers. This is a record for anybody. Then all of a sudden we're bringing in Babe Ruth in the conversation. So when he reached on the infield hit, I was like, uncle, like I'm overwhelmed now by how many records you're setting. We were all talking afterward to make sure we were getting it right and that we didn't leave anything out. I'm going to make a hot take here. He is going to make it out this year. Oh. He will make it. I'm not going to pick the date, but he will make it out eventually.
That's preposterous.
That's right.
That's
Back to
ridiculous. But the amazing thing is, and if he gets 2 more hits, and I mentioned this with you, he will set a record since 1923 if you were going back to the St. Louis Browns. But let's get a look at tonight's Sandy Springs starting pitching matchup. Sandy Spring Bank looking to cover all your financial bases. Let's talk. Visit sandyspringbank.com/real today. Again, Dean Kramer takes the mound, the righty, with a much improved season, a 3.23 ERA, the 125 whip, taking on the veteran Chris Sale. Very banged up, limited time over the last 3 seasons, but a 3.18 ERA overall. Again, not much of an appearance for the lefty Sale as you get a look at Kramer warming up now. And when you take this away, and I'd love your take, because Anthony Bimboom said Kramer's been adding wrinkles to what he does this spring training. So what are his wrinkles?
Yeah, wrinkles. They certainly don't show to confuse Brandon Hyde when he was asking about the wrinkles. It's just, you know, he's tweaked a few things, but, you know, to improve the shape of his pitches. I mean, it seems like everybody was working on things in spring training, but it's just such a remarkable turnaround for him when you think of where he was in 2021. Yeah. He was on that shuttle a few times, lost all 7 decisions, ERA over 7, looked like he just lost his confidence. And when he got sent down again, we were told this is not just a reset. Like, he's going to be down there a while. And you started to wonder, like, is this going to end up being, you know, ending poorly for him? Because he led the minors in strikeouts at the time they got him from the Dodgers. And then you saw the turnaround last year to where you could maybe say that he was their best starter. It wasn't just in halves where Tyler Wells had a really good first half, then he was hurt. Kyle Bradish had a really good second half. Kramer, once he came back from that oblique injury, he was good throughout the season, and he's built on that. Now let's see what he does here today. Boston has not been real kind to him. This is his 6th start. He's lost every decision. ERA close to 7, whip like 1.6. But we are seeing the much better versions of Kramer now, and he's got 4+ pitches that he can use all 4 to get outs with that he trusts. Mid-90s fastball, that's really improved for him too. So, I mean, he's a much better pitcher than he has been.
And you mentioned the numbers against the Red Sox, especially in Fenway. A tough slate for Kramer, especially with the weird schedules the last couple of seasons, because it was always he was either facing the Yankees or he was here in Fenway, and that was his turn in the rotation. So we'll see what those numbers he's able to do with today. Meanwhile, for the Orioles on offense, they've been backing up their pitchers quite a bit. We have already seen it. The bigger bases have been paying off. You have only so many times that you can disengage from the mound as well. And the Orioles are making them pay. We got to talk to Jorge Mateo before the game. He said he's going for 100. And when you see how easy this looks, we know it's not that easy, but it's almost hard to argue anything else.
That's what was crazy. That just stood out to me more than anything, is they were uncontested. Yeah. They ended up with 5 steals. That was 3 more than any other team on opening day, and they could have had more. Mateo had 2 and got a huge jump on a 3rd one, and Mullins fouled it off. He got a huge jump on the next pitch. This was in the 8th inning, and Mullins lined into a double play. Or he easily could have had 3. And the Red Sox thought the Orioles, and Cora mentioned this, did a really good job of kind of timing up that pitch clock, getting the bigger leads, getting the bigger jumps. The Red Sox weren't really paying attention like they should have been. They weren't attentive enough. And it was almost like a strategy that the Orioles were able to kind of use that clock to know when they could go. And maybe that's a byproduct of having a pitch clock, or maybe the Red Sox just misread it. But either way, it appeared that the Orioles were using that to their advantage, and Reese McGuire, the catcher, said the same thing. Clearly the media was at his locker saying 5, and he was kind of like, let me explain this. I couldn't even get a throw off. It just seemed like they did a really good job of timing things up where they knew a throw wasn't coming, the pitcher had to go to the plate, they have the speed, and they got the big jumps. Even Adam Frazier had a steal, and he's not a track star, but he had an easy stolen base.
He was, and we know Anthony Sanders, by the way, over at first base. He's got that golden stopwatch. He's been watching all this. He's got to be really proud of it. Roch, we know you got some reports to write, so we'll let you get to it, but thanks for breaking it down.
You're going to have a flex off at the end? Or
we will.
Okay.
We'll get some beef going here.